So uncouth.
And we're on. Welcome to So Uncouth, a podcast filled with conversations you can't have in polite company. I'm Victoria Hannaford, a recovering journalist. I'm with Caroline Craig, an actor.
Yes, hello.
And our friend, the mysterious Bunsen burner, who loves history almost as much as she loves science, but hasn't always done the reading.
You know, the irony is that I don't love science at all.
Oh,
But
come
anyway.
on, you do.
I know that my moniker kind of suggests that I am totally all into science because it suggests that I'm in a high school science laboratory. I mean, in what other context have you ever seen a Bunsen burner? Apart from now, in real life, obviously. But, I don't love science. Anyway.
It's a blue flame that never dies.
Just in case this is your first time joining us, we are three friends. We live in three different cities, and this is our weekly catch-up. Welcome. We're delighted to have you with us. Now, Bunsen, look, your mysterious persona does have the people intrigued. Is that Comet? Or is that Davy? Which dog is that?
No, it's Comet. Listen, to be complete, I know that we've got a mysterious persona conversation happening, but I've actually got a bit of a wildlife situation on my hands at the moment.
Maybe you do love science. Maybe you've got your own Bunsen zoo.
I do. Well, apart from the fact that my house often feels like a zoo because there are sort of, I don't know, like I've been identifying different insects, for example. But I discovered last night on my walk home a baby ringtail possum.
Oh, beautiful.
Just on the road. Anyway, I, of course, froze just as the baby ringtail was frozen. Called a friend because I was like, I've got no idea what to do. Anyway, the friend came around completely capably, scooped up the little bundle and then gave it back to me. And I was like, can you take it?
Was it on a busy road or was it just?
It was on the outside of my street, which is not an unbelievably busy road. But I mean, it's dark at night. I had to direct traffic while I was waiting for anyway. So I don't know what you guys think of this, but I basically palmed off the baby possum. I got someone else to rescue it. Then I said, you can take it. Anyway, the baby possum has survived the night and has recently been returned to me because apparently my friend had an extremely sleepless night worrying about this baby possum. And I'm now just kind of like, I've got the baby possum in a box and I'm hoping that Comet the dog does sort of like just doesn't cotton on while I'm waiting for the wildlife people to collect.
I think you should go and get that possum and put it outside. Put it back in the tree.
No. You guys are wrong. You need to start an Instagram account and you need to document their unlikely friendship because it will be viral as hell. Possum and dog. No one saw it coming.
Is it right to say possums? Because I know my neighbour, I don't think she likes possums. And she has all kinds of lights and things that come on that are designed entirely to ward the possums away. Meanwhile, I'm putting bits of apple out on the fence going, welcome, possum. Here, possum, have some water.
This is going to end up on a current affair, I think.
Oh, no, it's possum wars.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is that possums do, like, I mean, they're pretty brazen. They'll basically just kind of treat the outside as their own at night. I mean, it's outrageous. So they'll eat whatever they want.
I think it is.
Which is probably what your neighbour is objecting to.
Yeah, well, they ate the apple, that's for sure. There was a lot of poo left.
Anyway, so I'm all I'm saying is I'm a little distracted because Comet is on the loose. There is a baby possum in my house. Luckily, Comet cannot jump very high at all. So the baby possum is at bench height. Hopefully he's safe.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll tell you what else has had me distracted this week, Bunsen. Butts. Butts in active wear. I went for a walk and I had to stop myself from craning my neck as each woman walked past to see whether they were in fact wearing anally ruched active wear.
And that's what were many of them?
No. It is not. an active trend in Adelaide. I will say that.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that you've put the work in to now you can rest at peace.
I did feel like a pervert, though.
There's more
you know.
bareback action I've noticed around here.
That sounds very wrong.
No, it is. Depends on your audience.
Who's barebacking and how? Tell me more.
Aye, 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 aye.
So uncouth.
Well, listen, Victoria, I'm sorry that I've done that to you, but I did want to ask you, Caroline, how your did you get nude at International Women's Day speech?
I didn't get nude, but I did have to do a crazy PowerPoint presentation, and kids didn't know what I was doing, so I had to do a very bad dance that meant I nearly sprained my ankles.
Why?
Was that because you were wearing the wrong shoes?
Inappropriate shoes. It was at Charleston, and my daughter had said, "What's at Charleston? I think you need to change this speech. What's Hey Big Spender?" These are all things I did when I was 11 years old, because it was just basically a slideshow about my entire life. And had a lot of photos from 1985. And so I decided in the moment, let's make this physical. Let's get up and do it. This is a Charleston, guys. But, bang. Nearly spray my ankle.
I haven't seen it on TikTok. It just wouldn't have resonated at all.
But did you get paid for it?
Oh, God, no. I actually got a big bunch of flowers. And you'll be happy to hear this. Actual International Women's Day, I got a free lunch. I know.
Did you get dessert?
Well, I didn't have time to stick around for the dessert. I would be into it. It's just I had to get my mum out of there. She was saying some quite offensive things about the speaker.
You as the speaker?
Oh, no, she has a volume level that's quite high. Even as I turned around, I said, "Mum, do we have to leave? Do we have to go?" She gave me I'm going to keep talking, smile.
Can you give us a sample of what she was saying?
Well, the speech was about some very serious issues in the community, and her attitudes were probably diametrically opposed to the rest of the room. Let's just put it that way. And my mum has some pretty strong opinions, and she loves to share them, especially when there's free alcohol on the table. And God, I really wanted to celebrate it, but I did actually have to whisk her out of there before we were thrown out. And it was discovered that we were eating. We're total grafters, man. We weren't even invited. Someone had just said, "Oh, there's 2 extra seats at the table."
When you whisked your mum out of there, did you just grab a couple of things in serviettes and put them in your pocket?
Just a few pats of butter. Just took them.
Yeah. Sorry, Victoria, I feel like we've hijacked you had an agenda.
Yeah.
We've just walked all over it.
No, well, listen, I always have an agenda. I just don't share it. It's top secret. Firstly, Bunsen, the reference to loving history but not doing the reading, you did discover that perhaps your recounting of the history of IWD wasn't necessarily 100% factually correct.
Well, that is true. That is true. So last week, that's right. Okay. I should have listened to you, Victoria. We should have done this straight off, because I know all 2.5 of our listeners are going to be extremely upset about the fact that I said that International Women's Day began in 1975.
Ooh.
I did offer a quite strong caveat with that, which is that I usually am factually incorrect, but I still say things anyway. And in that sense, I was correct, because International Women's Day did not start in 1975.
So you're correct about being incorrect. That's good.
That is right. That is correct. Yep.
Do incorrects make it correct? I'm really confused.
I'm just going to take that. I'm just going to put that next to everything you say. That is correct. That little sound bite.
So a simple Google, as I was talking, would have saved us all from this retraction.
This is why we need a producer. We need a producer.
Or just maybe a muzzle.
Where's Comet? Where's the possum? They could do something here.
But it didn't. And of course, International Women's Day did not begin in Australia. What an idiot. Anyway, apparently it started in 1911, 1912. Again, I just did a very quick Wikipedia. That could also be incorrect.
Okay.
Suffragettes? Are we talking about the suffragettes?
We don't know.
Let's just not talk about it. Let's just not talk about it.
We're moving on.
I just want to go back, just backpedal a little bit about Comet and the possum. So there's animals.
Yeah.
There's there's interspecies love happening in your house. Hopefully,
Well, they're not. They actually haven't.
There will be.
They're not actually aware of each other's existence.
All right. So there's
someone coming from Wires.
Oh, good. Thank
Who
goodness.
has the name Steph, and I don't know what it is, but all people I've ever met who work in that area are called Steph.
That's true. I know a Steph who works in an area like that too. Yeah, it's accurate.
That's really true.
Yeah. The woman who I got Comet from a rescue, and her name was Steph.
Oh, there you go. Maybe it's the same woman.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Be like, hey, Comet, you're still here.
It was a bit of a 2-bit rescue, I have to say. When people ask my kids where we got our dog, they say McDonald's.
Oh,
that's beautiful.
Because
Engadine
we had
McDonald's?
a sign sort of. No, it was in COVID, and it was in like the hotspot of. I had to get a special permission to go to this McDonald's to do a masked handover of this dog. It was just such a weird situation. Anyway, that's another story.
What happens at Engadine McDonald's? Why Engadine? Is there shifty deals happening there?
Oh, Caroline, we're about to go down a particular rabbit hole. There is an urban myth.
Out there.
Wait, there is an urban myth that a previous Prime Minister named Scott Morrison allegedly shat himself in the Engadine McDonald's car park. And it has been doing the rounds for years. It is a rumour that refuses to die.
Oh. Is that a comment on the food? Did he eat those apple pies? I knew it was those apple pies.
I think it's a comment on the toilet.
I think it's a comment.
Couldn't bring himself to go in there. So he just was like, oh, fuck it, it's better.
It's a comment on the effluent nature of the former PM, allegedly. Or the fact that he just doesn't give a shit unless it's in the Engadine Macca's car park.
I have never heard that rumour.
Oh, my God.
That's the thing about you, Victoria. You're constantly,
she's full of
new things. All of a sudden, I feel like I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. It's the former journalist in me. I'm across everything.
She's across everything.
Oh, she knows everything.
So uncouth.
Are you across pets on planes? Have you guys been following this?
Yeah. Do you think, who would you take? Comet or the possum?
Well, I was wondering about the possum and the comet. Is it right to take native animals on planes? I don't know about that. And then it says, I just read they just have to be in cages, but I'm just like, that is just not going to happen.
Well, Davy is too big. Davy sort of doesn't fit the eligibility criteria. But Comet is a little nugget of a mutt. He does fit the eligibility criteria, but I've had extremely bad experiences at trying to sort of, I tried to bring him into the workplace, and that was an absolute disaster because he was fine for the first sort of hour, and he sat in a little bed at my feet. And then anytime anyone tried to talk to me, he kind of got up and did a whole guard dog, just started to basically potentially attempt to attack them.
I've heard him do that.
And was really loud. And then later on in the afternoon, we had to do one of those horrible Zooms in a conference room. And anytime anyone walked past, it was a glass room that went onto the street. So there were people walking past all the time. Comet would just go completely ballistic, just barking like a maniac, which then took over the whole Zoom. Where someone's making noise, it's like they've got the talking stick.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine that on a plane? That's what I'm saying. Smaller does not necessarily mean quieter. In fact, a lot of the time, smaller can mean more vicious and more, territorial, let's just say.
They've got something to prove.
Who's the smallest out of us?
We're fighting for territory on this screen.
Who's the yappiest?
I think it depends on the context.
Yeah, but Ravy can't go, so you're going to have to get a new pet.
But the Dave is so calm. The Dave's so peaceful.
Well, I think Comet would end up on some kind of he would be so antisocial and bark the whole time that he'd end up some really disgruntled, he'd end up on some kind of, someone would sort of video him and me just going, shh, Comet, shh. Sorry. And anyway, It would be bad. It would be bad for me. It'd be bad for Comet. It'd be bad for Virgin.
Yeah, Dave would definitely eat all the catering too, even the vegetarian meals. So
Maybe he'd end up on one of those unruly passenger videos, and the feds would be waiting on the other end.
Yeah, exactly. That he'd kind of like, they basically end up having to have officials come onto the plane to take him off.
exactly. He's
Yeah.
licking everyone. Get him off here.
Anyway, Victoria, I
Sorry.
feel like Victoria, totally not,
She's got an agenda. Let her.
she's got an agenda.
Please tell
and
us.
we keep subverting that.
Oh,
agenda.
it's fine. Listen, like I've said before, my gold is evergreen. However, I did go to a writers' festival in the past week, and I saw
So cultural.
no. Well, I saw my future. Do you know what I mean? It was maybe I'm not quite the right demographic, but I'm close. It was like my future and my present collided.
Does your future
Mm.
involve extreme glasses with very colourful rims?
Yeah, and pashminas, right? You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
lovely.
So I was like, it was not that long ago that I was commentating naked races at Roskilde.
What's Roskilde?
It is
What's Roskilde?
a Danish music festival. I had a radio show
Oh.
there for a few years, and there was a naked race, and it was my
So
job,
cool.
along with someone else's, to commentate. It was our radio slot. Listen, that is a whole other wormhole. But like, what has happened to us? Like, this is I'm
There's
not
naked
ready.
races happening down at the Writers' Festival, isn't it? Down on the banks of the Torrens.
There was a lot of male nonsense on stage. There were times where I was like, I just can't listen to these post-middle-aged men droning on about politics anymore. Like, but what festival should I be going to? Should I be raving? Should I be getting tickets to Fred again? What can I do that is not inherently embarrassing for a lady of my vintage?
I know exactly what you mean, because I kind of recently, maybe about a year ago, I went to an event and I felt like it was kind of, these people were going to be my people. And then I looked around and realized they actually were my people.
Yes.
But I didn't like what I.
That's how it was. It was like,
It's like kind of looking in the mirror and going, oh.
Was it? What was it?
Yeah.
A dirt bike rally or like kind of
a science fair.
I don't want to say, because I feel it was a podcast. It was a podcast. It was anyway. I just kind of
Podcasting.
looked around and kind of went, oh, and it reminded me
podcast
of.
festival.
It was a podcast thing. Anyway, it reminds me of this time when I was at uni. There was all of these people kept saying to me, oh my God, you remind me so much of my friend Raz. Like, you and Raz, they're so similar, and she does this and you do that, you do the same thing, and you look similar and you sound similar and you tell stories in the same way. Eventually, I met Raz and I could see, she went, oh, we both realized who each other was. Like,
Yeah.
we'd heard about
Yeah.
this doppelganger from afar, and we both looked at each other and I could see we just did the eyes, the elevator, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up again. And then we looked and we kind of went, I could see we both just went, oh, is that what I look like? Oh. And it was a very uncomfortable moment.
Did you do a high five and then just go into different hemispheres?
There was an initial excitement and then a sort of like a dawning kind of like, oh, like looking in a mirror and going, don't like what I see. But then, well, listen, maybe, I mean, it is possible she didn't think that. I mean, who wouldn't like this?
Did you exchange
But,
words? Were there any words
Oh, yeah.
exchanged? All right.
Yes. Yeah. And we both acknowledged that, that we had heard a lot about each other. It was kind of like, I've heard so much about you. Oh. Anyway, years later, we met up and did discover that we actually, I looked in the mirror and I liked what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe that's a compliment, you know?
I think that's the basis of a lot of female friendship, though, because I remember, Bunsen, you may not remember this, but I remember you telling me a while after we became friends, it may not have been that long, actually, that we were in shoots together and you were like, that girl talks a lot and I don't like her. And then I must have talked so much that I just wormed my way into your hard little heart. And eventually we became friends. But I have been thinking about the fact that often you start out going, that girl, she's loud, she's annoying, I don't like it. And then you realise that's the best thing about them.
It's a bit Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. They just hate each other from the get-go. That person just infuriates me.
And then it turns into passion.
You're in love.
Is that ringing any bells with you, Bunsen?
Listen, it's ringing a vague bell, but because I actually don't recall when
Ever meeting you. Is that what you're about to say?
Yeah, I don't recall when we became friends. At all. Like
No, you're
all I
always
know
around,
is
weren't we? We're always around.
exactly. She's just no. I recall meeting you, Caroline,
Oh, do you?
but I don't recall. Yeah, I don't ever recall meeting you, Victoria, but I do know that all of a sudden it was like we were house hunting.
Yeah.
You know, so I sort of obviously I had met you prior to that point.
Yeah.
But you know,
Or
who knows how.
I slipped you a Mickey and then like you just woke up and we were housemates. That's how friendship works.
Yeah. So, sorry, you were saying, Victoria.
Well,
Yeah.
midlife shenanigans, what would be appropriate?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like for a lady of our...
I went to a body, mind, spirit workshop once.
No.
That was, no, too many tattoos. Yeah.
Too many
that's what I thought.
crystals.
Too much bad herbal tea.
You guys are so down on catering. People are just giving you stuff, right? Like, it's
Oh, look,
just
I'm
a tea.
grateful.
Like, come on.
I'm vegetarian and I ate that Scotch fillet, okay?
You
'Cause
are
it was
not
free.
vegetarian.
Not vegetarian.
I wasn't yesterday.
Exactly.
I had to eat it. My mom was there. She's going to start screaming about lentils. That was the last thing I needed. Some woman over the table just said, "I know you. You went out with my brother-in-law." And I was like, "Who the hell is her brother-in-law?" So I was terrified.
Was he that guy that you met in the queue and you struck up a little romance talking about banana bread?
I remember banana bread. Yeah, he was hot.
Yeah.
But the problem is I don't remember his name. I'm about to lose power. You guys keep talking.
I just remember he was called banana bread. Anyway, I don't know where we belong, Victoria. All I know is that once you have a certain level of cynicism, it makes it very hard you sort of have to let that go, sort of leave it at the door sometimes.
So you're saying I could go raving. I just need to block out the stares and the people videoing me to put on the internet later going, look at old people having a good time. Bless.
No, I'm saying you could go to a writers' festival, choose an event where there are not a bunch of dudes talking, choose an event that make a better choice, basically, and
Do better.
additionally, leave your cynicism at the door. That's what I would recommend.
Well,
That's your homework for this week.
I didn't feel cynical. I just wasn't ready for what my future had in store. Like I saw my future and I was like, I'll be here. I just don't know whether I can simultaneously be other places that are kind of cooler. Anyway.
I know.
You're cool. You're cool. Did you miss me? Did you guys miss me?
Yeah.
You didn't, did you? You actually didn't even notice that I was gone. You didn't even notice.
Dear.
Listen, I was delivering Victoria some serious life advice.
Which is love where you're at. Is it love where you're at? No? No.
It actually was quite close to that. Are we a wellness podcast? I didn't see that coming,
Yeah.
but I think we might be.
Well, no, Victoria's struggling to work out where she fits into this big bad world. And
It's a life
the answer
journey.
is
That's a life journey.
nowhere and everywhere.
Maybe I
all
just
at once.
want to go to like cool places. I just don't have enough friends in Adelaide.
You have all the... How dare you? You're down on the catering. I'm angry with you, Victoria. You're down on the catering. You live in the festival city. You've got the Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
You've got everyone coming from everywhere, drunkenly riding around on those Lime bikes.
Yeah.
You've got everything.
No, I am going to something that is like history of house music. I think that's what it's called. So we'll see.
That is where you belong.
We'll
That's where you belong.
see if I kind of like feel like I've found my spiritual home.
I love that history of house, though. It's kind of like, it's not house. It's kind of like, let's have a little retrospective walk down memory lane. Sorry. See, that's the cynicism. That's the actual cynicism that I said. Drop it. That's exactly what not to do, Victoria. Don't do that.
Okay, we do have a message from the Uncouth, aka the So Uncouth community.
I seek guidance from the Couth. The Couth gives guidance or asks a question. The Couth says, my 84-year-old mother recently had a colonoscopy and offered to show me the video of the procedure her proctologist had given her. Is this uncouth? Disturbed. Location redacted.
No.
Well,
Offer some advice on that.
well, disturbed. I would say that your mother has a very good medical practitioner, because when I had a colonoscopy, no one offered to give me the video.
Oh.
Do you know what?
Do you want to see the video?
Do you know what they gave me? They gave me a report, and the report said that my preparation was colon. Get it?
Colon,
Get it?
I like it.
Fair.
Oh.
Does that mean you didn't drink that weird
You know
Mylanta
what that
type
preparation
stuff?
is? I'm not going to go into details, but it
I
is.
actually don't know.
Oh,
I think you can only eat white food. Isn't that where you can only eat white food?
yeah, and then at a certain hour, you have to start drinking this magical liquid, and then basically,
That's
I don't think that I need to go into it any further. Let's just say that to leave my house, I wore a maternity pad just in case. Anyway, but I put in.
Yowzers.
Maybe don't put that in the podcast. Anyway, but I
It's staying in.
I put in the hard yards, right?
Oh,
It was not fun. I was like, what the f- is going on here? I didn't even know my body could do this. So I was sort of impressed with myself. And then the report came back going, yeah, preparation fair.
Did you want a gold star?
Right.
Would you have preferred exemplary?
After what I had been through, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but I then, someone had given me some kind, then I'd undergone the procedure itself. I mean, come on.
Oh, dear.
I don't know. A video of up someone's backside might be better than, having to watch endless videos of, some cruise they went on or something. Or
Listen, I don't want to see that particular video, but what I do appreciate is them spreading the message of colon health, of bowel wellness.
That's so true, Victoria.
Oh, wellness. That's what we're all about
That's
here.
what we are.
Yeah.
all-
And I think what we're discovering is that the uncouth is the true couth.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That is so meta.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I don't know, but I'm going right up my backside. I'm going up with a proctologist. May never, very, ever come back.
I also think it depends on the contents of the video. If the 84-year-old mother was wanting...
Had fair preparation.
Well, yeah, exactly. If her preparation was deemed to be better than mine, perhaps it would have been a better video. Also, I think the 84-year-old mother is doing the right thing in saying, do you want to see it? She's not strapping anyone down and putting toothpicks in their eyes and forcing them to see it. She's just offering a
And you know what?
choice. That's couth.
We've all got a colon, hopefully. That's a privilege. That's a privilege. So we should be celebrating it.
What if she added like a soundtrack and like was very carefully edited, so it was like only post
From the history of how.
post insertion. Yeah, you put a little bit of over it. Like maybe it could be an edifying.
No, I reckon it would have like an Ennio Morricone kind of like la la, like an epic sort of. I reckon like this is life.
Soundtrack to the mission.
Exactly.
Going up the river.
Yeah.
The ring cycle.
I mean, you put any music to it and it's inherently hilarious.
It'd be easy to forge too. Like, how can we prove that it's actually her movie?
Well, I think, like as Victoria said, you'd only start the clip once the internal procedure had begun.
You pass the bonds on these.
Because any kind of like other identifying characteristics.
Gussetry.
Yeah.
Areas. All right. So what do we think? Couth or uncouth?
Oh, couth.
Definitely couth.
Totally couth.
I'm really into it. Totally couth.
I want to totally couth, mate. That's our spin-off. I want to know why this person thought it was uncouth. I mean, what's uncouth about it?
It's his own mother.
It's his mother. Come on. He just came out of there a few years ago. She's just offering to show him back up.
I think probably we need to have a
some
chat.
basic reproductive health lesson. Yeah.
And on that note, we will see you next week where we tell Caroline about the birds and the bees. Copy us later.
No, just a little heads up, a little spoiler. Children don't come out your bum. Okay. See
Yeah,
ya.
but there might
Right.
be poo.
Yeah.
Some have poo on their heads. I pooed on my baby's head.
So